your plan B is not your plan B. That's actually your plan A.
So your plan B either goes out of the window or your risk goes out of the window. If you take risk, you can't have plan B. To-dos are infinite, but outcomes are not. Write down your to-dos. You think they're 100, I guarantee you they're not. They're like 40, 30, 35. I do it every week.
थोड़े देर पहले you took a whole week off, right?
Yeah, that was 3 years ago, by the way. That's what I wanted to watch. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I like to shut that part of the brain where you actually have to enjoy something to do something, because I personally don't believe that you have to have a lot of passion for what you do all the time. You can't be afraid of wait. It's just 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to another podcast of Take 2 Action. This is the second take of my life and hopefully yours too. आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं, he's one of the most inspiring persons I've ever met. He is the owner of one of the most trusted and established accounting firm here in Vancouver called the Accounting Bridge, which is more than $1 million revenue company. But do you know what is worth more than $1 million? His mindset. आज के इस पॉडकास्ट में हमने बहुत सारी बातें करी. मैंने इनसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीखी, but one of the most important thing I learned from him was never to hesitate to take risk and never hesitate to invest in yourself. आप सभी का ज़्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए, let's introduce today's guest, Mr. सम्राट मल्होत्रा. Generally हम गेस्ट को वेलकम करते हैं अपने पॉडकास्ट चैनल पे, but today we want to thank सम्राट भाई for inviting us in his own studio. This is his place and new location, new podcast. Thank you so much, Samrat bhai, for having us.
It's an incredible honor to have you guys. You guys are helping me set all of these things up, seeing what's actually possible with this space. So, I am grateful for you guys as well.
इतना बढ़िया podcast studio है. I'm thinking about trying to shoot more podcasts over here. But yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, I'm an entrepreneur. There'll be a charge.
Oh, 100%. Whatever we can afford right now. Okay, Samrat bhai, how did you start your day today?
Woke up and realized I'm late.
Okay.
Generally, my Sundays are two big outcomes from Sundays. One is to have a general idea of the 2 to 3 big outcomes for the week. If you plan them upfront, increases your chances of actually completing that outcome. And these are like generally bigger outcomes. And second is the 4-hour workout. So that's where a Sunday would start. Today was, we're of course skipping the planning for the day, and we'll probably do that later after the workout. But yeah, other than that, very normal. Glass of smoothie in the morning and we're ready to rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And what does a general working day look like for you? Because you have your own accounting firm. So how busy does it get in a general working day for you?
Right. In terms of busy, the work starts, when the work starts. The phone rings when the phone rings, regardless if I'm at the office, if I'm at home. If I'm out on vacation, the emails are going to come when the emails are going to come, right? So the work starts in the morning as we progress through the day. When I'm here at the studio office, we need to rename this place, I'm here 12 hours. Okay. The idea is even if I'm here at 11, I try to just chunk it to 12 hours. So sometimes you have an early morning meeting, you do the meeting, and then you relax, you skip the traffic, and then you come here at 10, you leave at 10, right? So you get a 12-hour work in a good 4 to 5 straight hours, and then you take a break, and then 4 to 5 straight hours. I like to focus on one thing, forget about the others. A lot of times my team goes, hey, respond. I go, no, I'm working. I will get back to you when I'm working on that segment, but that's how the work day generally is. And when I'm not here, for example, Thursdays, Fridays, we've got a big workout session. So then, if I'm not at home, I'm working at WeWork. I've got a WeWork close to my house. Just get the 1-day pass. Go there, close the doors and just work. Just work, right? Just like everybody else does. It's just cold, hard work.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I had a question in mind. How has this road been for you? Because you came as an international student to Canada, right? And how has that journey been from an international student to working on different jobs and now creating $1 million revenue company, Accounting Bridge?
Right.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
And
Thanks.
please share with us that how has that journey been for you?
Short word: fantastic, horrible, amazing, stupid. Multiple emotions, right? Because when things go great, you're like, yes. And then when things go bad, you're like, why did I start a company? And I'm surrounded by one of those unique people like yourself, where for us, immigration was an opportunity, a gift, a unique challenge that we could squeeze the most out of this opportunity. We could, go and get in touch with people that we never had a chance to do back home. And this might spur up some conflict with people, but I genuinely believe that the fact that we're in a different country surrounded by different people gives us different opportunities.
Correct.
And it takes a significant work away from you in just getting access to people that now you do just because you went to Starbucks in the morning, or now you do just because you run an ad online, and the fact that you're in Vancouver gives you different set of opportunities. So for me, I look at it as a huge opportunity, and that takes a little bit of the sting off, the struggle, the challenges. We've all got challenges, right? Anyone, local, immigrant, it's not easy to start a company, keep it going. We've been around for, today we've been incorporated for 5 years now. I think last week we incorporated 5 years. We started the company a while back before I incorporated, because I was just trying a couple of things. It started as a side hustle.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, just most people don't stay around for 5 years. And that's purely it's a pure opportunity for you, for me, being surrounded by a country full of entrepreneurs, making it okay to do business, not having any preconceived notions of what you can do, what you can't do, who you are, who you're not. It's a huge opportunity. So for me, that immigrant's journey has been fantastic.
Okay. And what, according to you, was the time in your life जहाँ पे आपका ये mentality switch हुई from doing a job and thinking about you wanted to create something of your own?
Right.
When did that happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Why did you start the podcast?
I mean, it was a weird situation for me.
Yeah.
Like मैं अपने birthday पे बस बैठा हुआ था. I desperately wanted to do something of my own. I didn't know what to do. But I had some things in mind, and I wanted to create value for the people who are watching me. I wanted to help me and the people watching me and get out of the situation where they don't have anything in mind. They are not looking for tomorrow, and that is because they are not working on themselves, right? So that was one thing in my mind that I want to do. And I'm still exploring. I'm documenting myself. I am figuring out each and every day what are my interests, what I can actually work on. I mean, every day is an opportunity right now.
That's the idea, right? You're sitting and you have it's two things that make people do what they do, right? It's either inspiration or desperation. You either get inspired by a vision of, to do this thing, and it's going to become this big, and it's going to impact this many people. That's so exciting, right? That's the passion aspect. That's the getting inspired aspect. And then there's the desperation of, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, and I need to do something that's more meaningful to me. For me, that was both. I've been wanting to understand entrepreneurship since I was a very small kid. I still remember, like, one of my neighbors started a shop. We went to the inauguration of that shop back home. This is back where I grew up. And so all of us went there, and there was a Hindu havan happening, and we all sat there and I'm looking around, and I knew the guy who started the shop. He was like a bigger brother, 10 years older than me. I'm looking around and I'm thinking, the only thing I could think of was, how did this go from nothing to a business? Because the way I look at it is, all of us work for a business, or are in a business. This table was sold to us by a company. These shoes were sold to us by a company. there were people working in that company. The roads that we drive on are by corporations. So it's like, how does one go from nothing to having a company? How does the first set of revenue come in? So these were interesting questions, which I never knew that these were entrepreneurial questions. I was just a curious kid. But the curiosity turned into this drive of let's try something of ourselves. Starting point for Accounting Bridge was a story. We'll get into it later. But the starting point was desperation of, I need to try something of myself because I just think I can. And then just being inspired by a company going from nothing to now, even $100,000. And so the combination of that was like, okay, well, let's try something of ourselves. And I went and I spoke to the company I was working for at the time, and we came up with an opportunity to work where I would go give them some support in position of an entrepreneur, and we worked it out, and it worked out well. I didn't make any money off of it, of course.
Okay.
I didn't make any money for the first 4 years into the business. This is when I started, before incorporating. But it was just exciting. It was inspiration that, let's make it happen, right?
4 years, big time. And just going on with the inspiration and not having actual money flow for the business or making any profit, right?
Well, absolutely not. Yeah. In the beginning, the first check I got was roughly, $200 for 3 months of work, which doesn't make sense, I know.
Yeah.
But the way I looked at it, an opportunity, it's my step in the door of being an entrepreneur. And I was 21 years old. Again, this is way before we even thought of actually incorporating. It was just the idea of being an entrepreneur. And that $200 was very, very exciting. And then went out and got an extra job, again, in the capacity of an entrepreneur. And I still remember that, the first customer outside of my boss, she sent me an e-transfer of $150, and I was like, yes, I made it. That I probably spent $1,000 to make that $150 over.
That's a different rush.
It's a different rush. It's hey,
those first few
feels
dollars
different, right?
Yeah. As I know you already, thoda sa. So I know that you don't have a significant educational background.
Yeah.
That is required to start an accounting firm, right? An accounting firm.
Right.
So I want you to tell the people कि जैसे मेरी misconception I would say ये थी कि to start an accounting firm you should have a CPA or have a higher qualification, but I know you just had a diploma, right? Right after your...
In accounting, I have a diploma, and all of the accounting I learned was prior to even when I got the diploma. Again, if we're a full-service bookkeeping firm, what that means is we work with businesses, we get them their numbers, okay?
Right.
That adds some value to an entrepreneur. We work with them with their numbers, which adds a little bit more value to the entrepreneur. The idea is, hey, if you've got some money coming in, you've got revenue, you've got expenses, there comes a point where in business too many moving parts financially where you cannot just look at your bank account and see what's happening.
Right.
So you need some numbers. And we work with them, we help them grow their profit, grow their margins. And that doesn't require a degree. Now, in accounting, we're professionals, and in order to issue certain, like it's called review engagements, audit engagements, you have to have a designation.
Right.
And that is correct, and we don't do those kind of engagements. And we shouldn't, because we're still able to help a lot of entrepreneurs get control of their businesses. This is real stuff. Figure out the little things, the little tricks to grow their margins, figure out where the money's going. All of this is real stuff that's helping the entrepreneur. So the educational aspect goes out of the window if you can find a way to help them and make money from it. Otherwise, it's just a hobby. And so, I don't have the formal education. I've got 2 years of diploma in accounting. I'm sure there's a lot of people still who know a bit more about accounting than I do. But when we work with a client, there's nobody else who'd add more value than us in our capacity. That 1 hour meeting means the world to us, right? We would serve. Everyone in my team would make sure to do 10 hours of preparation that you're not even getting paid for, to prepare for that 1 hour meeting that helps the entrepreneur go out, make a killing. And that, I guess, is the formal education I have, is the ability to just go and serve, period. Nothing else matters. I don't know if you saw the latest WWDC. You're holding an iPhone. I've got an iPhone.
Yeah.
They came up with Apple Intelligence. They came up with the new operating system for the Mac and everything, and Apple Intelligence is all built in. And so Tim Cook had an interview with MQBHD. I don't know if you know him.
No, I don't know.
MQBHD does a lot of reviews of Apple products. Very big guy. I think now he has as many subscribers as Apple does. Oh. This is a significant deal. And he was doing this short interview with Tim Cook. And he says, this is the first time Apple's actually used the term AI.
Right.
They've come out with AI now. How come Apple never used AI before? It's been around. Apple's a big company. You definitely have the resources to use AI. And he wasn't talking about ChatGPT or language models. He was actually talking about machine learning, basically.
Okay.
And Tim Cook goes, well, we've got crash detection on our watches that's powered by machine learning. We just don't think the technology matters to the customer. The crash detection matters. You driving and, God forbid, get into an accident and the watch calls 911 for you, and your life is saved. That's what matters.
Right.
AI doesn't. Machine learning doesn't. So we use these technologies, but we just never bothered. And they say it's always been their focus of, hey, what does it matter to the client? How do we serve them? Period.
That's it.
Right. So it goes back to the same idea: is the technology doesn't matter, the education doesn't matter. Of course, if you're a professional, if you're a doctor, make sure you're a licensed doctor. But other than that, it doesn't matter your education. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter what technology you have, what resources you have. What matters is, can you serve the guy in some way, shape, or form? And if you want to be an entrepreneur, can you serve them and make money from it?
It's more about the skill that you acquire, and it's more about how you are growing each and every day doing business.
Doing business.
Understanding business is different than the skill that you actually provide, right? If you understand business, after a certain point of time, you don't need the education to make yourself credible.
Make yourself credible. That being said, I've spent, I don't know the exact number, but I've spent, I would say, about $100,000 in my education, other than the Langara, the Diploma.
The Diploma, right.
Anthony Robbins' Business Mastery is a course that I did 4 years ago, $10,000, all paid up for. Mm-hmm. Who paid for it? Hey, it came out of my pocket, but it didn't give me a degree, didn't give me a diploma, didn't matter. It especially didn't matter to me, because you go and learn from some of these business people that come and tell you some little things that you can do to improve yourself,
right?
So on and so forth. So I've invested in my education, just not in the formal education way, which also I think is a little bit of how the world is moving towards now, is a little bit away from formal education, but a lot more towards specific directed education via courses, via podcasts, via Spotify, audiobooks,
right.
So on and so forth. Right?
And how do you think the world is moving towards, and what will be the relevance of schools in general in the coming time? Because अब लोग actual में move कर रहे हैं, learning these courses. They are not running after those qualifications. That's like right. Getting an MBA in general. They are moving towards the specific courses, right? What do you think would be the relevance of schools in general?
Relevance of schools up until high school, they're decent. I don't know enough about schooling, especially here, up until high school, for me to know. But certainly when it comes to getting an MBA, and we hire a lot of MBAs, a lot of times you're screening resumes and you do have the scriptoma of wanting to look for the higher designation, or degree. no doubt, and I think that still continues. That preconceived notion of an MBA is better than high school graduate.
Of course.
But there's the targeted learning that you can stack on top of whatever your school's teaching you. That'll give you a way bigger edge. And by targeted, I mean you can go and get a course on how to use this mic in 200 different ways
Right.
to do beatboxing. Or we were discussing the other day how today I could go and buy a course for $1,000 and learn Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere inside out.
Right.
And that cost me $1,000.
And not even like those formal courses. I believe there are ample of YouTube videos. Those are free of cost.
It's free of cost.
Yeah.
Right? Versus going to film school and learning the lighting and the camera angles and the editing, which is all valuable. But hey, I just need to know editing so that I can go to Freelancer, I can put my ad out, and I can make some money real quick and provide for my family or just get by. And then I could maybe go to film school and then learn the rest of the things. So you've got these targeted learning opportunities that you can stack on top of your MBA. Gives you a huge edge. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm reviewing, someone's resume and they've got, we hire a lot of accountants, they've got the formal education, but then they go, hey, I've got this Pro Advisor course done from QuickBooks Online and I've done XYZ course from Xero. We go, okay, these guys know these softwares.
Right.
It adds value to us, right? So that targeted learning is valuable. Now, the good thing about getting an MBA is you have to stick to it for 2 years.
Right.
2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times you get professors that you don't like. You get professors that you love. You get courses that just bore the hell out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get courses that you love. But it forces you to stay in the system consistently over a long period of time. So it teaches you the skill of sticking to it.
Right.
Especially when things are extremely boring, when they're not working your way, when you've got a job and 2 midterms tomorrow and you've not prepared for it, and you need to stay up all night, figure it out, and go and give that exam, and you might fail. That still gives you a structure to learn that skill.
Right.
But then you can learn that skill, start your own business, right? And because if you don't serve the client will go somewhere else, and you don't have a business, so you still learn how to stick to your guns and go and do it. So a lot of these factors come in. But if someone hates college and they think that there's no other way, that's not true.
Yeah.
If you hate it, not if you hate a course, but if it's like all of the courses you hate and all the professors you just hate the system, get out of it. Get some personal education and get some personal development. Read like 20 books on sales and become a sales guy. Read like 50 books on marketing, become a marketing guy privately. And you can do that. You have the ability. And I think 20 years down the road, that ability is going to maximize and money is going to start flowing out of colleges, universities, a little bit more into private educators, private experts, instead of lecturer professors, great people, but they learn from a book that's written by somebody else.
Right.
So that going to somebody who wrote the damn book,
yeah,
and is making a lot more money because they have the opportunity of direct learning. Go learn from them, right?
Quite valuable. But think like that. If I am working in a job role and I am dependent upon my paycheck to pay my expenses, right? But I want to desperately create something of my own,
right,
or like do whatever, like maybe an accounting firm, maybe some sort of business.
Right.
How important it is for someone to think beyond their paycheck, and how one can practically do that according to you? How did you do that?
I'm a crazy guy when it comes to some of these things. I heard the story of this general, and I don't know the specifics, but I'll try to give you the gist of it. So, there's this island which has got the treasure, it's got the gold, it's got the diamonds, it's got all the possible things that'll make you wealthy for generations to come.
Right.
And it stays on this island, and there's this army on the island that never lets anybody in. There is no way to win.
Okay.
There've been people and there've been armies that came in, tried. The problem is there's only so many army you can bring over the ship, and you land on this island, and The people on the island, the soldiers on the island are way more equipped. They know the island way more. They have the education of knowing where to attack, how to form the attack formations. And the last 100 years, in this story, nobody won. Everybody went to the island, they actually died or ran back. And so this general comes in the story, inspires his troops and gets and sails on this journey and gets, 100 ships, I don't know the specifics, gets on, and halfway through, everybody gets scared.
Okay.
And so, the soldiers are saying, we're going to die, we don't want to die, we might have to come back, nobody's ever won, and there's doubt that comes in the mind. And when there's doubt, shut up. The general goes, well, these guys are not shutting up, I better do something about it. So he gets up, he gives this riveting speech, and he says, you know what, we're different, we've got this technology, and we've been doing this for this long, and this team has never been like any team before, or this army's never been like any army before. They go, yes, let's do it. And they get on the beach, they come down, and they go, we don't want to do it.
Okay.
Because when there's doubt, the doubt comes again and again and again. And when there's doubt, shut up.
Shut up, right.
But these, the key guys, the key 4 or 5 guys come to the general and say, listen, general, we were all inspired, we were all motivated, but we're here now, and you can see the wreckage of these old armies. We're not feeling certain, and we don't know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, you know what to do. And so the general goes, okay, no problem. And the troops are like, okay, the general's going to give another speech, and we're going to be inspired, or we're going to go back. The troops want to go back. The general gives the order of burn the boats.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? He says, it's an order, burn the boats. And in military, when somebody gives an order, you do it. Right?
We are not going back.
Burns the boats.
Okay.
All the boats are burned. Now, there's no way back.
No way back.
They're like, we're either going to die or succeed.
Okay.
People who either die or succeed tend to succeed. Now that motivational speech that the general gives has a lot more meaning, because they better listen, because otherwise there's no way back. They go in and they win. They get the island. And they're like, the only way we go back is by winning and going on the opposition's boats, the opposition's ships. And they win. And so you go, well, what's the takeaway from that? The takeaway first is, when there's doubt, shut up.
Right.
When you don't know what to do, you know what to do.
Okay.
And then burn the damn boats.
So do you mean like we shouldn't have a backup option or something in mind?
I don't believe in backup options.
Yeah, because I do the same thing. I have always been like, जिसने थोड़ा backup options रखी हैं. But I believe when you have your plan B, that is not your plan B, that's your plan A. Because you're always thinking about that thing, and आपका सारा ध्यान वहीं पे होता है.
It's actually a good point.
You're gonna write
that down.
Okay. And but
say that again.
Your plan B is not your plan B. That's actually your plan A.
I'm a slow writer.
No worries. I haven't read it somewhere. When I was doing theater, I have to write something and act accordingly. So this is what I wrote on, and this is what I acted as well. So this I try to keep it in mind and try to remind myself every day that this should be your plan A, no plan B. That's it.
There's no plan B. The reason I'm an immigrant with great family back home. We're like upper middle class. We had high status, fairly okay financially. So we don't come from really poor background.
Right.
But nobody in my direct family is an entrepreneur.
Right.
My dad had a fantastic job in the government, very high post. But he's not an entrepreneur. There's nobody in my family that was an entrepreneur before me. You know 1 or 2 people before you come, because you have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to stay at this. He was my brother's friend's roommate, old roommate that I stayed at for like 2 weeks. So
Right.
yeah, I knew somebody in the country, but that's about all I knew. I had to
Yeah.
take resumes out and go and distribute on the street. We all did that. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing
100%.
surprising there.
Yeah.
But that's where I come from too. Is there's no business background.
Right.
When I came here, because of the currency exchange, you suddenly are now not upper middle class anymore. You have no money,
No money. Yeah.
and you got to figure out the fees for your college, and you got to figure out how to pay rent. And we're in Vancouver, and the rents are fun. So,
Crazy high.
yeah, and so that's where I come from, and so there is no plan B. There can't be a plan B. If your plan B is, if this business doesn't work, I'll go back at a job, then when it's time to take some risk in finance and hire 5 people on your staff, you won't do it, because then your plan B doesn't work. Because then if you go back and you financed paying for these guys for 3 to 6 months, and even if it's hiring people in India, $1,000, it's still okay. 5 people, 5,000, 6 months, as of $30,000. If you go back to your job, that's even paying you $60,000.
Right.
It's going to take you 2 years to pay that back. So your plan B either goes out of the window, or your risk goes out of the window. If you're going to take risk, you can't have plan B. I'm sorry, and then it won't work.
Yeah. Because this thing.
And your plan A won't work.
Yeah, I mean, someone asked me the other day that, okay, oh, so this is your side hustle. Okay, you're doing something full time. So I told them, no, that's my side hustle.
That's what side hustle.
And this is the main thing that I'm working on. I'm trying to replace that completely. But yeah, I mean, let's hope. But I want to know from your experience, what do you do on your worst days when you're having a bad day, bad business day, or like nothing is going according to your plan? How do you...
You mean like yesterday?
So I mean, like, how do you... I'm not sure how to say it, motivate yourself, or like how to keep up on track, because you've been in this business for like 4 to 5 years, 5 years you said, right?
Yeah.
That every day is not your best day. So how do you keep on the track?
Yeah, I think I've been in business for 7 years. We incorporated 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been full-time for 3.5 years. All of these 3 pieces have different meanings, right? Because when you're full-time, you're actually in it. And by the way, when I turned full-time, I didn't have enough income coming from business for me to replace my job, just so you know.
Okay.
It was a pure, let's do it.
Let's do it.
What you do on your hardest day, there's not a lot you can do. At my stage, we set the strategy 6 months before, and then we start executing on it. And then if it fails 6 months later. And when it fails, you change the strategy, but you're changing the strategy for 6 months down the road. So there's nothing you can do. Right?
Okay.
It's not a lot. It happened. There's things that I do on normal days that when that really, really out of control piece comes, it helps you a little bit, but the worst days are the worst days because they're the worst days. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to feel the feelings of whatever it is, failure, guilt, rejection, fear. You just got to feel those feelings, and not a lot you can do then when it's already happened, but there's a lot of things you can do before that. I was driving today in the car. It's a 20-minute drive.
Right.
I usually turn some high, loud rock music on, and I do these affirmations out loud.
Okay.
And I've been doing these for, not every day, but I've been doing these for a good 6 years. Affirmations. I call them incantations because I'm doing it out loud. Affirmations are, it's like, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome. But you're not saying it out loud, you're not feeling it, so it's kind of negates, right? But incantations are when you're actually out loud in the zone, pushing it, I'm unstoppable. there's turn change into progress.
Right.
Whatever happens, use it. These phrases, right? You just use them. You speak them out loud, and I do that privately in my car. Very few people know that I do it. I don't want people to
Now
know
it's out on social media.
Okay. So it's crazy, and it is. And when people look at me, sometimes people look at you and they go, something's off with this guy.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It works for me. You do these phrases, whatever phrase you want to pick up. It's I got my phrases. One of them is I'm all in every single day, which means I'm committed. There's
Right.
no backup option. I'm in, and so I do these out loud on the good days. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you feel riveted after that.
Right.
That when you had the worst day, there's the little voice in the back that goes, you were unstoppable, or
Yeah.
and you don't feel that, but it's there, and you're all in every single day, and today is one of those days, which means you're not going to quit. You keep going. You push hard.
Yeah.
But it's all of those things that I do on the good days that help you on the worst day. But then when the worst day happens, listen, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, just feel the hard.
I mean, like, what I do is, like, I just try to show up. So I like working out. So if I'm having a bad day, even if I'm not working on the best of my capacity, I
Yeah.
just try to show up, because that gives me more of that self-belief, that muscle
Right.
memory that, okay, you're there, your time will be there.
Yeah.
So that helps me.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a personal question in my mind, because I kind of know that you still live on.
comes-
No. It's not your.
Just messing.
No. I mean, like,
Sorry.
it's like a kid inside me wanted to ask this question. That I know that you live on rent right now,
Yeah.
right? The kind of business that you have, the kind of financial situation that you have. I believe that you can also afford a house as well. Obviously, the amount of rent that you're paying towards your apartment, you can give the mortgage of your house as well. And you drive a decent car. You can drive a luxury car as well. So please share the mentality behind that thought.
Yeah. And by the way, I do want to drive a luxury car. There's no strategy there. It's
Okay.
yeah, maybe it's a mental thing. Me and a friend of mine, we speak about this a lot, because we both love fast cars.
Okay,
Why
sports
haven't we
cars?
bought it? Because again, we can, no doubt about that.
Okay.
And I was just talking, on behalf of me and a really close friend of mine. But in this moment, I suppose I'd rather invest back in the business.
Okay.
And even if it's a little bit, right? Even if it's like a $1,500 a month extra. And I do believe that cars, they're fantastic, but they're purely for fun. There's no investment aspect to it.
Depreciable assets, right?
Depreciable assets, it loses its value the moment you drive off the lot. We know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
The idea is it is for fun.
Right.
It is for when you want to just enjoy. And so I love cars. We rent a lot of cars again.
Okay.
But I do think that $100,000 is better spent in investing on, another accounting manager who
Right.
can now take over, I don't know, an X amount of dollars and bring that much money back into the business.
Okay.
So it's just that. It's just pure focus. I suppose now that I think about it, there is a little bit of a strategy going on.
Okay.
So I take that back.
Okay.
One of my mentors, he is a seasoned entrepreneur.
Okay.
Not just one company. He is in the retail business. Now, I believe he owns about 35 different retail locations all over Canada, and significantly wealthy. Private guy, very private guy. He started one of his companies 3.5 years ago, and I wanted to invest the little money that I had, $20,000 or something, I think.
Okay.
And I spoke to him. I was like, hey, can I invest? And he said, absolutely. because they were raising capital, by the way, at the
Yeah.
time, so it was just out of the blue. And then I asked him, "Is it a good idea?" And this is how stupid I am. Yeah, I'm asking the guy that is raising capital if it's a good idea to invest in his company.
Yeah.
But turns out he cared more about me than he did about the investment.
Oh.
He goes, "Of course it's a good idea. You're going to get, we expect to do this and this and this in the next couple of years, and decent investment should return about 20% every year. And so if you put your $20,000 in after we've built, not in the first 2 years, but after we've built, you should expect 20% return a year." And good. And then he goes, it could all fail. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's a brand new business, so you could lose that $20,000. But if you take that $20,000 and put it back in your business, which was very small at the time,
Okay.
don't you think it would give you a return that's a little bit higher than 20%?
Okay.
I go, well, let me do the math. If I hire one more contractor for some help with bookkeeping, and that person's in Philippines, pays $12,000 a year, I could probably make like $60,000 off of that person. And I just did that mental math, and I said, yeah, that 20,000 would probably give me 60,000, and 40,000 on top of that. So he goes, Sam, that's a better investment, and that's it. And I just go, okay, I'm going to take this money and put it back in my business. Now there does come a point where you need to take money out of the business, because you can put as much money as you have in the company, and it'll grow until it doesn't, and until COVID hits and you lose half your business. Didn't happen to us, we were in the accounting business, but happened to some of my clients, which I saw revenue dropping just like that. So it's not the long-term strategy. You do need to take money out.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that 20,000 did give me a bigger return. And so the 100,000 in a car, I believe, does give me a bigger return right now.
Right.
So that's the little bit of strategy. That being said, I am buying a couple of cars soon enough, and just driving some good.
Just give us some glimpse. What car do you wish to buy?
So eventually, I want to buy a Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Eventually, I want to buy a Lamborghini Aventador. Nice convertible. V12. It's again, every guy wants a nice car. That's just me. It's going to be a convertible. I like to take the top off and talk. I like to take the top of the car off.
Okay, you're going into that right now. You're going into the feeling of driving a Lamborghini right now.
Yeah. So
okay.
We'll see when that happens. And I want to be in a significantly better financial position in order to invest, more than $500,000 on a car. And so, of course, it goes without saying, right? Build your equity in the company, build your foundation, build your personal income, build your personal wealth, and then you can enjoy some of these fun things. Until then, rent it for $5,000 once a year, and enjoy and have fun.
Okay, so because I've started something of my own and it has not been a long time, but during this period I have felt कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा overwhelmed हो जाता हूँ. There are a lot of things to do. एक जगह पे mind stay नहीं करता. Like एक thought आता है and then another thought. You can't be in present. So you have been in this field for quite some time. So how do you practice mindfulness?
Right.
If that's the right word.
So if you don't mind me diving deep, it's a big question. Is it you're afraid of what this might happen, where the thoughts are, oh, this might happen and this could go wrong and this could go wrong and this could go wrong? Or is it overwhelm of just the sheer number of things you have to do, where, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do that and I need to get the editing guy? So which one is it?
I don't think about fear, honestly.
Right.
Because the day I started it, that was a win for me. Good. Because I overcome my fear. So yes. I don't think about failure. But yeah, overwhelming about the amount of tasks.
Right.
And
right.
Majorly वो चीज़ मुझे manage करनी है खुद.
Right.
So that's the thing.
Right. So I've got a simple tool. There's thousands of ways to deal with it, but what's more important is you better deal with it.
Okay.
Do not let the overwhelm be something that you just ignore and feel and go, yeah, I got overwhelmed. No, stop it. There are tools to actually get over it. And why I'm saying is because an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur now. First thing is to-dos are in our control and are infinite. You're doing X number of episodes a month and your week is going okay, you don't have a lot of things to do. And now, because you're a growth-oriented person, you go, I'm going to double it and I'm going to do 2x the number of episodes a month. And now all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. Still do the 2x, probably do 5x, but better make sure you deal with the overwhelm. I'll give you one tool, but make sure you find other tools, whatever works for you. One tool simple is to-dos are infinite, but outcomes are not. You're generally only looking for 1, 2, or 3 results, and you get to do a lot of activities to get that 1 or 2 or 3 results.
Right.
If the result that I'm after, so you're an inspiring figure, and I'm going to. So we've been working on me and my team on this project of growth games.
Okay.
It's an idea of, and now we're actually on Spotify. You can go listen.
Okay.
Where we've got these growth games where you can come and you listen to a 30-minute, a 20-minute, 15-minute, sometimes 40-minute piece of content. It's either me or somebody that we're talking to, or one of my clients who are really successful in some area. And at the end of it, we give you a growth game, and you could talk about the growth game. There's like a community and all of that. Now that has about 500 to-do items. I need to schedule the first 7 interviews. I need to hire an editor. I don't have an editor right now. I need to decide what location that's going to be. Is it going to be a digital one? And I've got a company to run, but there's still one outcome. The outcome is for us to have 15, 20-minute audio clip, could be video, audio clip, that when you're driving, you listen to it, you get a growth game, you get the growth game done in that week, and you grow a little bit, you become a little bit better.
Okay.
There's only one outcome. We've got 500 to-dos. And so outcomes are always finite. And so when you've got 100 things, write all of them down.
Right.
Everybody does it. To-do list.
Yeah.
It's 2 million to-do planners you can buy, right? Write the to-do list. Good. Now look at the to-do list and ask yourself, what do I want out of this? Let me ask you. You got to shoot the next 4 episodes.
Right.
What do you want out of this? Not what does XYZ want, or no. What do you want out of this? What is your outcome? What is your result?
Okay.
Right? I'd actually invite you to answer that question.
Okay. Out of this podcast?
Yes.
Okay. So for this podcast, I thought कि मैं अपने viewers को वो बताना चाहता हूँ that education is not basically equal to success or starting your own business.
Right.
How mentality can help you transform yourself and start something of your own.
Right. There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
Now, what we just spoke about in this moment right now
Yeah.
was the why we want what we want.
Yeah.
The result that you're after, in my words, it has to be your words, but in my words would be record an amazing session where we get these gems of content that will help this, and this person do this. For example, just making something up.
Right.
Okay. That's the outcome,
Right.
right? The outcome is not select the camera.
Right.
There we go. The outcome is not to drive up to downtown.
Right.
The outcome is record a session so that, and whatever it is.
Right.
And now I take this pencil, right? It's an old example, maybe you've heard it, right? And I try to poke myself with it. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Nothing happens. This is a pointed outcome, and you're aiming for it, but nothing happens, right?
Right.
There's no way it'll pierce. But if I take a huge 45-pound plate
Okay.
from the gym, tie it up, and somehow this thing ties up to it, imaginary, and then all I do is throw it a little bit, it's going to pierce a hole in here.
Yeah.
And metaphorically, that 45-pound plate is the why you do what you want to do.
Okay.
right? And you're a why guy. I know you've spoken a lot about why you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So you go, hey, the outcome is I want to record an amazing session for my viewers so that by the end of the 40 minutes, they feel riveted, they feel inspired to do the next move and take some risk and be bold. That's the outcome.
Right.
The reason is the impact that will have on others is going to be the impact that I have on my life just because I did this. Or the reason is that seeing that impact in others is going to make me feel like I've actually accomplished something meaningful, or whatever the why is, right? Now, with that why, selecting the camera becomes easy.
Right.
And I know you're not selecting the camera, I'm just picking that
Yeah,
option,
I mean,
right?
yeah.
So the editing becomes easy. The only outcome is recording the podcast. The only why is your why, and then the to-do list comes in. So your brain is literally wired to now focus on the outcome.
Right.
The to-do disappears. You focus on the outcome and you focus on the why, and the to-do is just something you do. It just happens. It just flows out of you, right? And that's the idea. Again, it's one of the techniques. So you overwhelm, good. Write down your to-dos. You think they're 100, I guarantee you they're not. They're like 40, 30, 35. I do it every week. I know this, right? Maybe afterwards I'll show you my planning journal. It's something I do as
Yeah,
like
that'll
a
help.
weekly thing, right? But you write down those to-dos and you ask yourself, hey, what do I want out of this? And why do I want it? What's my outcome? You can go, hey, what's my outcome from working out, and what's my outcome from this podcast, and what's my outcome from going and doing your side hustle? What's my outcome from getting educated? Boom, you've got 4 outcomes. 4 outcomes in a week that might take you 2 weeks to accomplish, with 4 different reasons or similar reasons, with 400 to-dos that don't matter, because if the outcome is to record a podcast, you can pick the camera and the mic and yada, yada, yada. Or you can find someone who knows all of this stuff and has the equipment to come in. Or you can go somewhere where all of the stuff is set up.
Right.
Now you got 200 ways to get the same outcome. The focus is the outcome, right? So anytime you're overwhelmed, you're focusing on to-dos. The way to get out of it is to focus on the outcomes. There's generally only 1, 2, 3, 4 outcomes. 1, 2, 3, too many. 3 is most. It's one way.
Okay.
Get out of overwhelm, right?
Okay.
Make sure you get out of
Perfect.
it.
I mean, like, it gives me a lot of direction that how to deal with those specific situations.
Yeah.
Just think about the outcome and list the priorities, I would say, in number that makes me a little more focused. Okay, let me do this, and then one by one. Okay. Simultaneously, इसी के साथ मेरे दिमाग में एक और क्वेश्चन था कि what do you do for relaxation? Because overwhelm होने के बाद you need some time off, you need relaxation. Like you told me that once you like थोड़े देर पहले like you took a whole week off, right?
Yeah. That was 3 years ago, by the way. But
Oh,
that's what I wanted
My
to watch.
bad.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
My
and I
bad.
took a whole week off. Yeah.
my bad. So currently, what do you do for relaxation?
What do I do for relax? I mean,
Like,
the idea of relaxation is to actually not do anything, right?
right?
So
Okay.
just don't do
That's
anything.
correct. That's correct.
I don't value relaxation very, very high, though. And that is personal preference. The word I would use is, to rejoice maybe and just get back in state. We'd go go-karting, or we'd, jump off a cliff with a bungee jumping, with a bungee attached to it, not jump off a cliff. Or, go in the water, go jet skiing, do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That, for me personally, is more valuable than relaxing. Where relaxing would just be, sitting on the couch watching TV. I do watch TV, but that piece is way more valuable. Just a couple weeks, me and a friend of mine were planning to drive up to Kelowna. It's a 4.5-hour drive.
Right.
To go to this one place and do go-karting for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we feel like coming back, we'll come back. If you want to do an hour go-karting, we could, right? Actually, we might do an hour. We'll see.
Okay.
We're just planning right now. and then come back, right? That would, the outcome there is to just have an incredible time, have fun, forget about work for a bit. I don't think I can forget about work for a bit. But then you come back and you go, well, I'm ready for another session, right?
Okay.
So that's something that I do.
Okay.
But personal preference, hey, if somebody wants to relax, then relax. Make sure you know, make sure your outcome is to relax.
Okay.
And your outcome is not to kill time. Very different outcome. A lot of people kill time, very few people relax, right?
Okay.
So there we have it.
Right? Okay. I have this question in my mind. You are great at accounting, right? That's why you have a firm. What do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy business or do you enjoy accounting? What are you good at?
What am I good at?
Better at, I would say.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I'm good at accounting. I think I'm good at business. This is my first business, and a lot of things
Still
go
going
well
on.
sometimes in the beginning. What I do now, my capacity is a combination of a lot of things, and accounting is certainly part of it. Um, we've got sales meetings that we're doing now.
Right.
We've got marketing. Now we're doing a lot of, we're doing these video series that we could send to some of our existing clients, some of the prospects, just to kind of, educate them a little bit, show them little tips, techniques, to help them grow their business, which is video recording, which has nothing to do with accounting.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you sit down and you review a set of financials, you have a meeting with the client, that's accounting, right? So that's what I'm doing. In terms of enjoying, I like to shut that part of the brain where you actually have to enjoy something to do something, because I personally don't believe that you have to have a lot of passion for what you do all the time. It's a famous Steve Jobs thing, and I'm big, I follow Steve Jobs, but he said you have to have a lot of passion to keep doing what for the thing that you do, so you keep doing it for long term.
Now, what drives you more, I would say?
Okay.
Is it the business thing or the
Yeah.
accounting?
It's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Entrepreneur.
It's the risk taking. My core is my a hardcore entrepreneur. Old fashioned entrepreneurship. That's what I like. Nothing fancy here. We're not changing the world. We are, however, the old fashioned entrepreneur, right?
Right.
That's what I like. That's what I love. That's what drives me. That's why I wake up in the morning. Build multiple big businesses really fast.
That's what you're doing. I think you're on the right track, I believe. I believe so. Also, you told me you're going for a 4-hour workout session right after this.
Yeah.
Right? 4 hours. Okay. And you started with a personal trainer 6 months ago.
Right.
How has this workout journey, training journey, helped you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I learned this thing called 3, 2, 1, go.
Sorry, what?
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What does that mean? We're doing something. We're lifting a lot of heavy weights. We've got a spotter, who can assist and make sure you're okay. But when you do that consistently, I'm sure you felt it, where now you're supposed to do a squat, even if it's half squat, with 3 plates on you. It's risky, so you have a spotter,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's scary because it's a lot of weight. And so,
Right.
my trainer taught me, it's like, you can't be afraid of weight. It's just 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
And you just shut it. Just shut your brain and do it. That's it. Once the countdown starts, shut the damn brain and just go do it. It works for short-term things. You can't do 3, 2, 1, go for 2 long years.
Right.
But when you're about to lift the weights, or again, we do 4 hours. It's crazy, but when it's been 3 hours and 45 minutes, and you have that 2 last exercises left, and you don't have to do them because you did a good job already, right?
Yeah.
And you don't feel like doing it. Just, okay, you look at it, you go 3, 2, 1, go. And that moment, your brain is shut. You just do it, and you see what you feel after, and it works, right? And it works in business, right? Hey, you got to make a decision. That decision could cost you $50,000 or more. and you know it's the right decision. Now you need to pull the trigger, and now you got something called fear. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Shut the brain, do it.
And I honestly have this feeling, जब आप ऐसी रिस्की सिचुएशंस के अंदर होते हो लेकिन आप रिस्क कर लेते हो उसे, like you take that risk,
Right.
it gives you a different level of happiness, I would say.
Yeah.
And
drives my personality.
yeah, it drives your personality and it feels good, honestly. Another thing, like, how do you think content is going, and the relevance of content creation
Yeah.
is getting importance in the field of business as well? Like, people are getting into social media, creating content. Like, you are also creating content, videos for generating value to the people.
That's
You
right.
can share something about that as well. But how do you think it's going according to you in your field as well?
Yeah, I'm a product of online learning, right?
Yeah.
That's where I spent my money. That's where I learned. So a lot of value is there. The ability, I mean, I've got my phone, right? The ability to, just imagine behind this camera, and you see this camera. Behind this camera, you have the ability to talk to millions of people
Right.
just like that. When was that possible before?
Yeah.
Just
Correct.
anyone has the ability to look at the camera, and behind us, there's this imaginary world that's full of people, including people that are a little bit like you or like who you want to be, that would love to listen to you. It's powerful. It's a
Right.
powerful way to impact people. It's a great business tool. I do video a lot because
Right.
it's a great business tool. We do video financials for some of our clients who are on the go, super busy, don't have time, still want some insights, some input. We get our team, get the set of financials, hit record. You go, listen, want you to play this while you're driving. We're going to go through some of the key elements of what's happening in your business. Last 3 months, average revenue, X dollars. You went up from this to this compared to last year. Couple of areas that we think you need to work on is, and we pull up and talk about some of the red flags. Oh, by the way, your margins are 45%. Stats Canada average is 49%. So something can be done there.
Right.
And people listen to it while they're driving, and it happens. We get feedback, right?
Right.
And that's just the ability to just talk to people when they're not there, but when they want to listen to it. Social media, you talk your thoughts, and your voice is powerful. Your voice goes through this microphone and this camera, and it goes and helps somebody else who is in a situation that you were 5 years ago,
Right.
and transforms their lives.
Right.
It either helps them a little bit or helps them a lot, or they go, look at that guy, he's funny, and they laugh at it, but it's still a laughter, right? There's still
Right.
some way that you serve them. That cannot happen one-on-one. I don't foresee that happening where you just go and talk to people one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not compatible, I would say, that you can get the time of every other person who is working in the industry to teach you, sit with you like you're doing with me. I mean, like, I'm getting a lot of value talking to you, but that's not possible for most of the people, right?
Right.
So,
And there we go, right? One too many. Plus, people are more likely to watch videos than to read text. So, as a business tool, as a marketing tool,
right.
We like to put videos on our landing pages. We like to put videos. If somebody signs up for a meeting, even if it's just a meeting, we like to send them some video content.
Right.
Get them so they get something they can execute right away, right before they even have the meeting.
We are almost moving towards the end of the podcast. We just wanted to know that when we first approached you, कि हमें कैसे podcast कर रहे हैं and we would like to have you over here. What were your thoughts about this channel, about the idea of this channel, and about the whole podcast? That why did you decide to do this?
Right. Best stories are comeback stories.
Okay.
You hear the story of this guy who came from a rich family and was very wealthy, was very well connected, went to Harvard, then graduated and came out and started his own business, and within the first 3 years made $100 million. And then he found the perfect wife and he married her, and now they have family, and the end. That's a boring story.
Right.
It's got the best of content, but it's a boring story.
Boring story, yeah.
Versus same story, you get the guy who's is a trust fund guy, very rich, graduates from Harvard, goes out, starts his business, and loses everything. Can't get himself out of bed in the morning, doesn't have the skill to overcome hardships because he never saw it. Nothing wrong with it, but now he goes, what do I do? I've never lived like this before. And now the guy, looks at himself in the mirror and goes, well, if I've done it before, I can do it again. My dad did it, I can do it again. And then he gets up, starts, and takes it 8 years, but then he builds $100 million business. That's the story that you want to hear. And that's the podcast that you guys have, is Take Two Action.
Right.
What's your second wave? What's your take two? What's your comeback story, right? It's a very exciting cause, it's a very exciting name.
Okay.
When you called me and you said, hey, let's do a podcast, let's do it. we can't spreadsheet to death all of our decisions. Some of them just need to happen right away. You gotta be decisive.
Okay.
So that was the idea, but no, I really like the concept that you guys have just from these 3 words, Take Two Action. It's fantastic, man. Comeback stories are the best stories, right?
Right.
Somebody fails, good. Now you got a comeback story to tell.
Yeah, of course. Perfect. I mean, like, I hope that you had a great time like I did on this podcast, because I learned a lot, especially burn your boats and a lot of other things as well. I took a lot of value, and I know that the viewers will get a lot of value out of it. And I'm not sure whether they are going to take a first step towards their sideline dreams, but definitely they are going to think about this thing that they are there and now they need to do something about it. And yeah, obviously those tools that you suggested, they're going to use it.
I hope,
And yeah, I hope that you like
Yeah.
my company as well.
And again, if I have your permission to ask your viewers, if they want, pull up Spotify, pull up Apple Podcasts, search up Growth Games.
110%. Just all yours, man.
So, guys, this is who I am, and you guys get a very good sense. Nothing fake here. It's just raw. It's just real. It's a real conversation that we're happening, and I'd like to invite you guys to go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcast, and search up Growth Games. You'll see a podcast by Sam, and listen to 1 or 2 episodes. It's going to be 20 minutes, a little bit longer sometimes. And at the end of it, we talk about a tiny thing, a tiny game, a tiny action that will put you out of the comfort zone. In each different area, sometimes we talk about sales, sometimes we talk about marketing, sometimes it's personal health, sometimes it's just going and walking up to a stranger just to build your confidence. Just these tiny growth games that we talk about once a week. Come take a listen. If you like it, I'd love to serve you guys. Otherwise, thanks for listening.
And honestly, I'll tell you one thing, the impact that this guy already had, because I've met him before shooting this podcast, the mindset I had stepping out of his studio was completely next level. And that is coming straight from my heart. And the quality of taking risks and the intentions of taking risks completely changed for me right after the moment I stepped out of his studio. Listen to him, and I'm sure he's gonna add value to your life. Thank you so much, Samrat Bhai, for having us. Pleasure is all mine, honestly. Guys, in the end, keep dreaming, keep working on your dreams, and make every day count. Jai Hind. मिलते हैं अगले पॉडकास्ट में.